Hi guys, thank you for joining us today in Mama Kabobo Jikoni. We are going cuckoo about chicken. But before we get there, let's have a very quick discussion. Have you ever bought a set of knives and wondered why on earth do I need this many knives? Okay, let me take you through what each knife does so it can make your work a lot easier in the kitchen and also make your chopping, dicing and all that process a lot easier. Okay, come closer, I show you. We are starting with the two smaller ones. They're called paring knives. There's a shorter one and a little bit longer one. What a paring knife does is help you with very tiny items, vegetables, you name it, like garlic, chopping at the end of it. It gives you a lot of control when you're holding something small as opposed to having this and you're chopping something little. So a paring knife will come in handy when it comes to such small things. Also carving of fruits and coring them. For example, if I wanted to go through this apple and just take everything inside, this would be a better knife to work with as opposed to the wider ones that will cut the apple in half. You see, they're both paring knives, but one is shorter for smaller things, one is longer to just core and for something a bit small but also a bit longer. Okay. Next, we have our serrated knives. I know this is very popular in many households. What this does, it helps you cut through a food item that has a very crusty top and a very soft inside. Something like a bread. You know the way you cut bread and it squishes and it just loses shape. You need to use a serrated knife so it can saw through the hard part of the bread and then go smoothly in the soft. These two are called utility knives. What they do, they're basically ideal for chopping normal things, light things in the kitchen. Say you're cutting your cucumbers, you're cutting your zucchini, you just need a normal knife to just do something normal. These are the ones to go for. They come in different shapes and sizes because some people are, they have huge hands and others have, smaller hands. The different shapes of these, some are very short, some are very a bit plump. But a utility knife does not have anything special going on with it. This one is a bit bigger, which is also slightly heavier, also to help with chopping things that need a bit of energy going in them. We have the cleaver knife. This is my favorite knife in the kitchen. What this one does is it's really good for smashing things. Like when you want to do that to garlic, it actually helps peel it. You can see just from the smashing, I'm able to almost crush it. It's also very good when it comes to chopping things that you need done fast and you need a lot of weight going into the chopping. For example, if I had to cut up a chicken, I wouldn't go for this. I mean, it would take me like forever to just slice through the chicken, but with a cleaver, you just poop and it's done. Very good for meats, very good for chopping even vegetables. Like I said, anything that needs to be chopped with a bit of weight in, this is your knife. This is basically for hanging, so feel free to hang it somewhere. Super useful in the kitchen. Make sure you get one. And finally, we have the peeler knives. Different types, just for demonstration purposes. This one is what we call rotational, a peeler knife that moves. This one is best for things that are rounded, so you can go. I wish you can see what's happening with it. You can go around without having to change the positioning of it because it follows the shape of the item. While this one is a permanent peeler knife, like a stationary one. Sorry, that's the right one. It's good for things like cucumber, carrots, things that you don't need to go around them. You can just easily slice one direction like that. So you can choose which one to use. This can also work with carrots, but this would be better used with things that are round because this would be hard to do a potato because then you have to keep turning it. Okay, there are different other types of knives that I don't have right now, like the deboning, like the fillet knife and all the others. I just felt the need to showcase the most popular ones that we usually get in our stores and supermarkets. But if you have a different type of knife you want to share, showcase how it works, feel free to comment in the comment section and let me know what else you'd like to learn. So yeah, that's it for this part of the show. We are going to the chicken, so don't go anywhere. Let me bring up stuff for the chicken so we can prepare and go cuckoo. So I managed to get everything we need for the chicken. So let me just take you through what we have over here. We have our favorite spice of the day, Jasiri seasoning. There you go. If you've not tried it, you better get some. We have all-purpose flour, 2 cups. We have buttermilk, 2 cups. This is mala. If you're watching from Kenya, this is mala. But if you're watching from everywhere else and you don't know what mala is, you can use buttermilk for this recipe. And if you don't have buttermilk, you can make that with fresh milk and vinegar. This is 1.4 kilos of chicken, broiler chicken. Get that. And we're going to season it with these 4 things over here. We have garlic paste. Feel free to use garlic powder for this recipe. We have the jasiri in the bowl, and black pepper and salt. So very basic ingredients, but the flavor is gonna be awesome. So let's do this. So for a start, we are going to season the flour, and we are going to do that with a little bit of salt, not too much, say about half a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of black pepper. This is going to coat the chicken, and you honestly don't want to bite into chicken that is yummy, but the coating is just bland. So for this recipe, you wanna season every part of the coating. So the first coating is that, the flour, seasoned flour, and then we have the milk, the buttermilk or the maziwa mala. Because again, like I said, you don't want to have chicken that is flavored and then the coating is a bit ish. So we're going to flavor everything. So for the mala, we're going to do also a little bit of salt, say about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. So don't mind me, I'm just gonna stir that up also. And for the star of the episode, our chicken, we are gonna go crazy with the seasoning. So that's say a tablespoon of garlic paste and a tablespoon. I'm heaping the teaspoon to represent a tablespoon. So a tablespoon also of jasiri. We don't need much of this, so just a 1/4 teaspoon of the black pepper and about a teaspoon and a half of salt. Again, you don't want to go crazy with the salt because you've already seasoned everything else on this table. Okay, so but guys, if you feel like using a tongue for this process is hard for you, feel free to go in with your hands. There's no problem with that. Before we do that, let's get our oil going. Like we said, we need the oil to be medium hot, not too hot. But let me just show you. Get in there, massage the chicken with your hands. Don't be afraid. And then once you feel like all the spices are blended into the chicken and the pieces are well coated, feel free to move to the next step, which is dipping in the mala or buttermilk, and then let it drip until all the excess liquid has gone out, and then finally put it on the flour. Repeat this, but don't overcrowd any of these parts. Like, don't do too many at a time, just do one at a time. Don't be afraid, the chicken has like 10 pieces, so that's fine. And then once you get here, you might want to use your other hand, because if you use this one, it will the flour will just coat your hand and it just becomes a lot messier. So use the other hand that is not covered with liquid. That way it's not messy. Okay? Sorry, let me get a plate for that. Feel free to shake the excess flour because you don't want it to really just mess your cooking oil. Excess flour will go at the bottom of the pan and just blacken, and it's not going to look pretty on your chicken. Okay, let's do this one more time. See if you get the process. Start from the beginning, the seasoned chicken to the seasoned mala. Again, we did black pepper and salt on this one. Make sure all the pieces are well coated. Let them drip the excess liquid. I think you get the drip at this point. Get the drill. Again, coat with your other hand. Basically just to avoid the mess, but you can also use the tongs for this part. Okay? I know cooking can be messy at times, but it's worth it, you know? So let's keep going, guys. Let's keep going. And by the way, guys, if you like that crusty flavor and feel free to double dip it. You can get it from the flour back to the buttermilk and back to the flour, just for a very thick coating of, you know, all this goodness. But for me, I just like a good balance of the chicken versus the crust. But like I said, if you like a lot of crust and that texture, feel free to double dip it. This back to the liquid, back to the flour, and then we are ready to fry. We're just waiting for our oil to get hot, and then we just put it in there for a few minutes, say about 15 or 16 minutes on medium low heat, until it's well browned and cooked through, and then we'll see how it looks. So guys, the oil is now hot, so we are going to deep fry these in batches. I would recommend you do 3 batches for 1.4 kg chicken. Don't overcrowd it, because if you do, they're not gonna cook well. You won't get a crusty exterior. So carefully drop in your chicken. So let's do, how many pieces are those? Again, please make sure your oil is just medium hot. You don't want it too hot. And if you realize that it's too hot at the point where you're adding the chicken in, feel free to lower it so the chicken can take time to cook through. This needs to be there for at least 12 to 15 minutes for it to be fully cooked through without being too dark on the exterior. Let's see. So guys, our chicken is now ready. We are about to take it out, but I want you to observe the color. It has gone from just plain white to golden brown to now this deep brown. And I like to insist that you set a timer. Once you put the chicken on oil, put a timer to at least 13 minutes. Let's just 12 to 15 minutes, but let's do with 13. So that the chicken doesn't get color and you're tempted to take it out before it's cooked through. So I've had to turn it a couple of times because it kept getting like proper color. I have to turn so it doesn't like burn before it's cooked. So you'll be right here as I check whether it's cooked fully inside, but I can assure you it is. So again, be very keen on setting a timer. We've done about 13-14 minutes for this one. And one more thing, please make sure you give it at least a minute for the oil to, the temperature of the oil to come back up before you put the next batch. Because if you put it right now, the temperature is a bit low because of what it was cooking. So you need to come up before you put in the next batch. I know most of you are very eager to know whether the chicken is cooked through, and I'm eager to show you. Just give me a second. I took a plate and a fork and a knife, then we dig in and see if it is cooked through, okay? Okay. You can pick any piece, literally any, and see. But the best way to tell whether it's cooked through, when you put a knife through it like this, the juices running should be clear, not red. If you poke it like that and some red, see that? Some red liquid, you know, of course you'll know it's blood, then it means it's not cooked through. But when you do that and it's just clear juice or maybe some oil, that should be fine. But when you do it properly, it shouldn't have too much oil on it. I know it's deep fried chicken, but if you do it with the right temperatures, it will be crusty and moist inside, but not too oily. Okay, so let's try this. It's still very hot though. I would recommend you wait for at least 5 or 7 minutes before you serve this so that the juiciness can distribute You don't want to dig into it and all the juices flow right back in the pan or this. So by the way, I hope you can hear the crunch. Very crusty. Hear that? Yes, please. So let me try, although it's very hot. Let me go hear that. I have to say it's really yummy. I can't wait to finish this and eat. But that's it for today, guys. If you loved what we did today, please click the subscription button. I need to finish up eating so I can say goodbye to you. But that's it for today. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.